Welcome to the Tri-State Traffic Show. O'Don, your traffic jockey here in the home traffic studio. Very special episode, friends, of the Tri-State Traffic Show. If you are a regular viewer of our program since basically day one, since the beginning of May, you know and you've heard me talk about Travels with Darley all the time. She's a wonderful sponsor of our broadcast here, and we have finally... the stars have come together, and we've finally got the schedules together here. And Darley is going to join us here in just a couple of seconds here with our full sit-down interview with the host and executive producer of Travels with Darley. And she gets the episode 150, the title of episode 150. So thanks, everyone, for joining us here on the Tri-State Traffic Show. So without any more delay, let's bring in Darley. Darley, how are you?
Hey, great to be here.
Thank you. Great to see you. As many people who are regular viewers of the Tri-State Traffic Show know that we've been following your travels for this great anniversary season 10 over the summer. We've been following you on Instagram and Twitter and fun pictures and little reels and things like that. So we're really excited about season 10 to talk to you about that. But first, I think we want to maybe just kind of step back a little bit. Let's get a little background information on you for some who may not know who you are. So let's start it off with, what part of the country did you grow up in? Did you grow up in the tri-state area or somewhere else?
I actually grew up in South Carolina in Myrtle Beach, a great vacation destination for many. And then I went to college at GW in Washington, D.C., George Washington. And now I'm in New York City. So I guess I'm traveling the East Coast. Yeah.
Traveling the East Coast. Very nice. Yeah. That must have been really kind of a fun time to grow up in like you said, a vacation destination in Myrtle Beach.
You know, it's so funny now that I'm doing these travel shows and adventures of all sorts all over the world. I found that it was really useful to grow up in Myrtle Beach because it's warm weather for a lot of the year. I was getting to do so many outdoorsy things. I was on the beach all the time. I surfed. I tried skateboarding. I did skiing, horseback riding, tennis, golf. So it was just like an outdoor adventure realm for us as kids. And now that I'm doing all these adventures everywhere, I'm always like, okay, I'll try that. I think I did that once when I was younger. And sometimes I haven't done it at all, but I'm like, okay, I can handle it. So, yeah.
That's wonderful. Kind of almost was born into the travel industry right from kind of day one, kind of growing up there along the shoreline. So where did your really love of travel come from? I mean, as kids with your parents, I mean, did you go on a lot of summer vacations, after school got out?
I traveled a bit, but it was always domestic growing up until high school. I mean, we would go to Florida and, really, again, East Coast. I did one California trip, but then in college or in high school, I was able to go to Europe for the first time with a friend's family. I tagged along and thought it was just amazing and eye-opening, and the food was so good, of course, right? And all of the wonderful architecture, and it just made me want to travel more. So that really started the travel bug that got me, and I've been traveling ever since.
That's great. As kids, my parents, when they first got married, and they've been married now 60, coming up 61 years now. So when they were with, my grandparents, so they always went on vacations, every summer they would go camping out in, California and Utah and stuff like that. So they always had the vacation bug. So we every year always took a fairly large vacation over the summer. Be it camping, we went up to Canada a couple times and rented the camper and did all that kind of fun stuff and really traveled the country, for most of our growing up as kids. So we kind of had the vacation bug as well, just trying to get away from what we know as the norm around where we grew up.
I mean, I think it makes a difference when you get to have those adventures. And I've actually spoken to a lot of people who did camping trips when they were kids, and now they say, oh, I couldn't camp that way anymore. But I mean, that's a great experience. And I think staying in different places and having different styles of accommodations, which I have often, is a good thing to do. And it just makes you appreciate being home even more sometimes. And sometimes you say, oh, I wish I lived in this luxury hotel. So
A luxury hotel, yeah, exactly. Comparatively speaking to the Winnebagos and so forth that we ended up a couple of times, and it also didn't hurt that my father worked in the airline industry for 43 years, so that certainly helped out getting from point A to point B. And so we've always had vacations, and it still continues to this day. I mean, they travel, not so much now, but they were traveling fairly regularly for a long time. Europe, Finland, whatever, Hawaii, that kind of thing. So we've always had the vacation and travel bug with all of us, including the rest of my family and my brothers and so forth. So after college, and so kind of take me the timeline of how the shows came about. I know the Equitrekking, I think, was your first program, correct?
I started out doing equitrekking way back in, I started a website, and I think it was like 2004. I was, really early adopter of getting online and doing my own little video. I would hate to see them now. I hope that they're buried somewhere. They are. But I started doing early video online. It actually got written up in the New York Times. I don't even know, it might have been 2007 or something. Then they were like, oh, there are a lot of people out there doing these niche videos and putting them online. So it's crazy to think about how things have changed so much and how things constantly keep changing in our media industry. But I've always been trying to get on the cusp of the new technology and doing 360 videos in the last few years and a lot of fun things like that. So I just dove in and started this equitrekking show where I went horseback riding around the world, went all over Middle East, South America, Hawaii, and had really awesome adventures, and made it into a TV show, wrote a book about it, and expanded out, and then started Travels with Darley from that. So it's been an evolution, but I've really gotten to do some amazing travel adventures along the way, and can love to share those tips with people now.
Yeah, that's great. And you mentioned the technology and stuff, and maybe going back and looking back at the videos from 2004, and just logistically, everyone has a studio in their pocket with their iPhone or Android device. And, back then it was, bigger cameras, and you really had to plan things out, in your travels to bring the gear, to do all of this stuff with audio and things like that.
That's so funny. Now I mean, I've been meaning to put out some of my earlier content almost as a joke, but not because some of it is still evergreen. But I actually, now that you're saying this, Don, I think I'm going to have some throwbacks that are going to come up.
Oh, okay. Well, you're hearing it first here in the Tri-State Traffic Show. A little tease there, maybe a little Throwback Thursday or something, right? Or whatever they call it, Flashback Friday kind of a thing. Yeah, a little retro Travels with Darley, super fun stuff. Yeah. So, as far as let's get right into talking about the show. So, as far as how long. This is a question that I had in my mind, again, maybe because I'm in the TV space and been for quite some time, but from the time that you come up with your destination where you want to go to the final product, about what's the timeline? About how long does it usually take you?
It's a couple of weeks. I mean, well, it can be a couple of months. It depends on what time of year we end up filming, but each episode definitely takes a couple of weeks to do. Because usually it's filming for around 4 days, sometimes 5 days per episode. And then there's, the research before that, the editing after it. And then it takes a bit before it actually goes on PBS stations. And then it also goes to streaming outlets now as well. So it's definitely a process. And the planning is a lot too. I'm actually planning episodes now for filming in March, beginning of March, for the next season. So it's definitely time consuming to put these together. But I think when you watch them, you see, we film in a lot of areas within 1.5 hour. So we definitely cover major parts of states and countries and places and get a lot of different people on camera. So it's fun though. It's always rewarding to see the end product. And it's always hard to put that end product out there because I always want to tweak it before it goes out.
Sure.
But yeah. but it's nice to come to a conclusion, and then, it's out there and you're done with it and you're like, okay, this is out there. Now I can't change it. So yeah.
Right, exactly. That's the end product, exactly. So the size of the crew, again, because I've done so many different hats, I think as much as you have as well, from carrying the camera to the lights and the audio and everything. But how big of a crew do you usually go out and film with?
There's only 4 of us, including me. So it's a small crew compared to other shows that I know about, including on PBS stations. We roll a really tight group, and that's the way I've always done it. But because of the nature of what we do, where it is so immersive and adventurous, it helps to be not having a lot of people with you. And a lot of times when we go to an international location, like we were just in Turkey filming for actually my 3rd visit there. We hired a local translator guide who came with us, and so he was sort of a 5th, but very necessary for that trip and just getting around and the logistics involved. So, we hire local where we need to, and then other than that, it's just the 4 of us rolling along to these different locations across the USA and around the world.
Great. It sounds like a lot of fun for the crew as well. I've seen some of the behind the scenes pictures and some of the bloopers and stuff. Looks like everybody's, having a great time. Now, in your shows, the local angle, as I kind of promote it, and I think you kind of do as well. I mean, how did you come up with that side of things to really get that local, somebody that you meet either to show you the local pub or the local museum? Where did that idea come from?
I've always thought that it's the best way to travel is with local. It gives you the most insight into the location. So even with Equitrekking, my first show, I wanted to have locals on as the guides. And actually between Equitrekking and Travels with Darley, I did a short series that was on Scripps Network's digital outlets called Travel Like the Locals with Darley. And that was all about also traveling with local people. So it's always been something that I've done. I like shows where it's not just a host introducing you to something, though I do, play a role and give my own opinions on things. But I think it's really neat to be able to talk with people who live in that location and know it really well. They know the history, the culture, the food. That gives you the most insight when you're traveling. So I think it's an important part of the productions.
Great. I do have another local question, but we'll save it kind of towards the end with a couple of questions that I have some viewers that have a couple of things they wanted to ask you as well. So I'll save it for that end of the end of the show. All right. So let's talk about season 10 here. So, big anniversary season. What was kind of the theme for this year's season? Was it showing newer places? Was it revisiting places that you've gone to in the past?
I did both in this season. I did have a theme of wellness and women. So, I have a lot of women entrepreneurs on my show and people that have done inspiring things. And they're not, I did have some celebrities on this season that came out for season 10, nice. But also just regular people who have, I think, lived interesting lives. And I say that always people, everyone I meet has something interesting to share, but that these people are people we wanted to highlight because they're places, they run places that you can go and visit, because that's an important part of the episodes, is that everything we do in the show, you can go, you can recreate it, you can visit these people, you can hang out with them. So that's what we did in this show. But we went everywhere from Bordeaux, France, where I hadn't been before, to Quebec, Canada, where I had filmed before, to Turkey, to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and then Wilmington, Delaware, where I hadn't really done much adventure at all. I had passed through there a lot of times and not stopped. So tried to capture different places, both geographically, US and international, to show people different areas that maybe were close to their home areas or further afield. And Santa Fe is one of the places I've been a couple times now, but I feel like you can always go back to Santa Fe. They have so many events every year and there's always something new. So I really love covering Santa Fe and New Mexico in general. So this season has a lot of geographic diversity, as well as stories and things that people can actually go and do on their own.
Yeah, no, I've never been to Santa Fe. I've been further west and, Phoenix and Tucson and honestly, Delaware, I've never been to either. Don't ask me why, being in
So
New
close,
Jersey.
so close.
I know. It's just a quick road trip, right? And I just have never have made it down there. I have a cousin who actually lives there. I need to go visit her from time to time, but yeah, never made it to Delaware. You know, sometimes I think the closer you are, sometimes you just don't realize what's around you. You know, and you don't go for a visit, or again, me being in New Jersey, either going up to Sussex County or further that southwest corner of the states, Salem, Gloucester counties, Cumberland County. I don't know if I've ever been there either. And
well, I'm kind of excited for the shows that I've been doing and the shows we're doing coming up, because again, a lot of them are in places that people would say, well, why are you doing North Dakota? Or, what's there to do in Wyoming and the Southwest part where no one ever travels because it's in the middle of nature. And I'm like, well, that's part of the reason why you want to go. It's in the middle of this beautiful nature. But there are places all over our country that are so underrepresented and underrated in the media. So I love covering those destinations and showing people those things that they can do that are close to their houses. I mean, I live in New York City and I'm always doing interesting things. If you see me on social media around New York, and gosh, I don't think I can ever get tired of it. But yeah, I encourage people to watch the episodes. I've done 59 half hours now. So there are a lot of places you can see.
There's a lot of places.
I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
Wow, 59 different places. Wow, that's fantastic. And sometimes the best vacations are the places, like I mentioned earlier in the show, with our family that weren't the Disney Worlds, or they weren't the real big, vacation destinations. It was those smaller vacations that you always kind of remember because it was different. And I think adding that into, sometimes the bigger vacations are nice too, but I think the smaller vacations and even stuff that's local, like, the stuff that you're doing right there in New York City, there's so many things, and there's probably a million things that you haven't come across yet, and
New York
it doesn't
City
have to be terribly far.
And New Jersey. I mean, I have another couple episodes that are airing on New Jersey PBS specifically, and you can find them online and also in the PBS app, called Look Up. And I did 2 half hours last year. Yeah. Newark architecture and history and food. So going out to the Ironbound in Newark, if you're in New York City or if you're in New Jersey and you haven't been there, have you been there, Don, to the Ironbound?
I've probably driven through. I've come through and so forth. And they always say the good Portuguese food and so forth. And I saw one of the restaurants you were in. I had not been in, but I would like to go because I'm a big Portuguese food fan, especially even further out for where I am in New Jersey. There's a really good place that I usually go to for the go-to stuff. But no, I had not been to the Ironbound. It's just, again, one of those things, you live so close, but yet so far, I guess, it just, unless you maybe had a reason or whatever, but these are the reasons to go to places like this, because you're showing us all these wonderful places to eat and have fun.
Yeah. Nastos ice cream and the Ironbound. Delicious. Yeah. Really. Yeah. Great food finds out there. And yeah, a lot to discover in a lot of different areas. I'll go back to New Jersey this coming year too to do some filming, so you'll have to come meet up.
Yes, absolutely. Sounds like an invitation. Absolutely. Yes. It sounds like fun. Yeah. And even New Jersey itself, I mean, there's just so many little ins and outs and I've been here all my life. I mean, I've never lived anywhere else. So, I mean, there's just so many things that even I, just in my own travel sometimes, pick up on that I've never knew about, or whatever. It could be just a house that you don't know anything about and it's got historic value, or, in my little section of the state here, it's, there's a lot of Revolutionary War history. There's a lot of the battles that were fought literally right here, like, 2 miles down the street. And you would never think of it until you actually go and you see the markings and things like that. So, there's so much history, and the Newark Liberty, that terminal. I mean, I've been doing traffic a long time. I didn't even know that existed. I love that piece. We're finding the hidden terminal there at Newark Liberty.
Yeah, fascinating. Building number 1. If you're ever stuck at Newark Airport and you have a couple hours, head on over, check the times to make sure it's open. But there's a museum that's open to the public in a building called Building Number One, which they actually moved from another part of the airport area. It was the original passenger terminal back in the day. It's got amazing Art Deco architecture, and you can learn about the history of aviation right there in the New York City tri-state area through this museum. So really interesting and kind of a cool little stop if you're at the airport or headed there. Or you might just want to go there.
So, you just want to go there. I think I need to take my show on the road and go do something with that. Go do something with them right from there. It's really just a fascinating find. You know, my parents are big fans of you and your show and so forth, and they didn't even know about that. And again, they've lived here a lot longer than I have, so it was a real kind of hidden gem. You know, just literally 15 minutes away.
Yeah, it's so funny because I thought about that concept when it was during the pandemic, and I was walking around New York City because I live here and there weren't that many places to go, but I was walking around riding the scooter that I purchased around, biking, and just looking at all the amazing buildings and then reading those little historic placards that you find if you take a moment to look. And I thought, wonder what the story is on this place. And I started doing research, and that's how I decided, I'm going to try to do some episodes as well, looking at the backstories behind different places that we pass every day and may not think about. So, and that's kind of what we do with Travels with Darley as well, is getting the backstory on things and making it more personal. Because when you speak to people and they tell their stories, like in this season, I have Travels with Darley, I went to Ghost Ranch, and David Manzanares is there, and he grew up there alongside Georgia O'Keeffe and shares her history from a more personal perspective and takes us to the places where she made these iconic scenes, the scenery that's so American West famous through her paintings. So just another example of chatting with someone and getting that backstory that you don't know until you speak to them.
And you know what, also I picked up a lot of, in some of your episodes, if not all of them, some sort of kind of like history lesson, and then last year's season 9 with the different trails that you were on, the episode in Selma was extremely powerful, moving. Maybe talk to us a little bit about that. How did that come about, and then how did you put that on the list of things to do?
Well, first of all, I really like traveling in Alabama. They have great food there, and the people are super fun and nice. So I've now done Alabama. I did an episode before. I had done these 2 episodes that I filmed the previous year on Alabama's Civil Rights Trail. And I'm actually going to go back to Alabama again this year to do 2 half hours on food, which I can't wait.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
I'm going to eat my way through
eat your way through Alabama.
Yeah. So the Civil Rights Trail, though, I did a lot of trails in season 9, and covered them in a different way as well, showing people how you can, take a road trip route and you can get out and hike in different places or walk or just explore national parks and national forests and different places that are open to the public. And a lot of them are free. So, and that's what I did on the Civil Rights Trail, which traces the history of the civil rights movement through these different sites. But what's really interesting about that specific trail is that unlike some trails that may take us through, World War I history in France, which I've also done, this is history that there are still people alive that lived through it. So again, being able to speak with people who lived through the movement. I had Rosa Parks's protege on those episodes. She, grew up sleeping on Rosa Parks's couch and going out at the age of 13 to help enlist people to get out there and vote. And so it was really fascinating to be able to speak with these women who, as children, did something really courageous and, help propel our country forward in a better way. So I really enjoyed doing that. And then also going to places along the Civil Rights Trail. Again, these are all places that you can visit today, like this wonderful barbecue place in Selma that has a cool history related to the civil rights movement, but you can also get really tasty barbecue still today. So
you had me at barbecue, Dar. I love barbecue. Oh yeah. Love that stuff. Oh my gosh.
Barbecue sounds,
right? Exactly. Right. Like coleslaw and the cornbread. Oh my goodness. I'm getting hungry already, and it's not even lunchtime yet. So let's talk a little bit about. I mean, let's just stay on the food segment here. I mean, what are some of the? I know it's like, trying to figure out which of your pets or kids or whatever that you like the best. But as far as like food wise, like United States wise, city wise, give me your, let's say, top three that food wise.
Well, I mean, I have to say number one is New York City.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I mean, New York City has amazing food, and I'm constantly every single day searching out new food options because I do not really cook. And though I have traveled the world and gotten lessons in cooking from the top chefs, which I did have to try to do during the pandemic, was cook. But
sure.
That's not my strongest thing, and I love to eat. So I'm always seeking out great places to enjoy really good food. So New York City is one of my top picks.
Okay. New York City one.
Yeah, number one, bagels. Number one. Number two I really think Charleston, South Carolina has some amazing food options. I grew up in Myrtle Beach, and I grew up going to eat in Charleston, and I have been back a bunch of times, since then, including this 2 falls ago when I was able to go down and film actually a half hour that traces a trail called the Liberty Trail, which follows sites related to the American Revolution around Charleston. But I also was able to eat with a James Beard award-winning chef and really find some really good Callie's hot little biscuits and awesome food finds in Charleston. The food is really good there and diverse. So I would say that's number two. Number three, I might have to say Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Okay.
The flavors there are so powerful, but also diverse and interesting because you get what they call New Mexican cuisine, which is not Mexican. It's not American. It's specific to New Mexico. And you've got your green chilies, your red chilies. And in the fall, if you go to the farmer's market, they're roasting chilies and the scent fills the air. And I think there are really interesting food options in and around Santa Fe that I've been able to enjoy filming a number of episodes in that area.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, myself and hopefully some of the audience were watching the live Facebook stream with your cooking demonstration that you had with, I can't remember. It escapes me off the top of my tongue right now.
Jose Fernandez.
Yeah. That seemed like it was a lot of fun, and with those flavors, with pepper things, it's just sounds like an amazing mix.
Jalapeno chili cornbread. Yeah, we made this amazing cornbread that's in the episode as well in a oven called a Horno oven, which dates back to times when Native Americans were using it to cook, and it also has influences in New Mexico. And the cornbread was really tasty. We did do a live stream from there. I've been trying to also go live as I'm filming in different parts of the world. Bordeaux, we did one. We walked through the streets of Bordeaux on a live, which is kind of crazy. It's really fun. I do take risks on this media stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Real pioneer with it all. Honestly, yeah. It's just having to Instagram and the Facebook lives and things like that. You're just, as long as you have a decent internet connection, you can do kind of, the world is your oyster kind of thing. I mean, you can do almost anything, just, with the phones and the laptops and things like that. So it adds a whole nother dimension to everything that you're doing, Yeah.
I've been live streaming again since the beginning when it was, and I can't even remember the original platform now. It was through Twitter. I went live for the first time and I did a 360 live, and it's really funny. It's on my Facebook page if you go way back, but a 360 when I was in northeastern France, and it was in 360, and I'm like, hold on, let me turn around so you can see the back of this. And I'm sitting there and people are like, we can turn ourselves. Yeah. So really fun stuff. But during the pandemic, I ended up doing a lot more lives because we were all at home, but it was a great way to connect as we're doing now with people in different places. And I'm glad that more people are doing that now. I think they're so fun to watch, and you never know what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and getting that audience participation, the interaction, and the chat going, and all that kind of fun stuff is just makes it really easy to do, and I think it really does, it gives a lot to the viewers, which is, that interactive thing. I guess growing up as a kid, they always touted, interactive TV and whatever, but it never seemed to materialize. And whether we're even there yet, I don't know. But, where you'd watch a show and then you kind of interact with it on the side, I think that's probably YouTube, I guess. I think that's kind of where it's at.
I mean, it's almost anything now because
Yeah.
people are going live on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. And through their WhatsApp. So it's really fun and interesting to do, I think.
So now we're talking about tech. Let's talk about tech for travel. How has it really changed? We mentioned this stuff about iPhones and things like that. That you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about developing the pictures and that kind of stuff. And did you get the good shot? And you can document it. Any other kind of tech that you either foresee coming up, or now that folks that are going to be traveling should kind of maybe have in their bag as they head out for their vacations?
Well, I mean, I have tens of thousands of photos and videos on my iPhone. I use it like a journal, which I suggest to people. And I think it's fun just to document a lot of photographs. You go back and you really remember, as you start to look through them, what happened. It's almost like a modern day journal. So I definitely recommend doing a lot of photos and video as you travel. But I have the Apple AirTags now, which makes me feel better to know where my luggage is going now that this luggage situation has been so crazy with lost tags everywhere over this past few years. So I definitely recommend those. And I mean, I think there's a lot of great apps out there. I always recommend getting and downloading the app for the airline that you're taking, because it is one of the best ways that you might want to start rebooking if you're having a problem or figuring out, what is actually accurately happening with your flight if it's delayed. So I definitely recommend downloading those airport apps. But I use a lot of things like Google Translate as well when I'm traveling. When I was in Japan, the language was a barrier at some points, and Google Translate was really helpful for that. So there's a lot of wonderful, I pin everything through my Google Maps now and save it. So when I'm in an area in New York or back in Santa Fe or in LA, and I want to find a restaurant, I can see, where I've been and what I'm recommending. And I find that a lot of people are reaching out to me for restaurant recommendations now. So they say, oh, I'm staying near this or that. Where do you recommend going? And I go to my phone and I look in my maps and I say, oh, go here, here. And I have notes on them too. So lots of ways to really make your experiences better when you're traveling through the new technology.
Yeah, and it's just amazing, with the like you said, with the photos, making a photo journal, and like the Google Photos. That's more what I populated to over the years. But it'll just bring up memories and things. It'll just bring up things, vacations and so forth, and it kind of puts it all into a nice little package. And it's great. It really is. One of the most amazing things, I think, for travel and the phone and all that stuff. It's just, it's fantastic.
I mean,
being able to do all this.
I'm like, how did I survive using a paper map? I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, exactly. Where were we before this? Or when you actually had to make a phone call going to an actual payphone, right? I mean, those are long gone. And although maybe some places still probably, maybe in New York City, maybe somewhere hidden place in a corner somewhere has a payphone.
Yeah.
There are a couple. Okay. That would be an interesting kind of scavenger hunt to try to find the payphones.
Yeah, there's actually one. I saw one the other day down in the meatpacking district at Standard Hotel. I think it's there for photographs. But
okay.
Yeah, Upper West Side has a random one too, up in the 80s or 90s.
Oh, okay.
Side. Kind of random. So.
Nice. All right. So if you're in the Upper West Side, try to go look for the phone. So we have a little less than about 10 minutes left in the show. Let's talk about some of your top destinations for 2023. Where do you see some of the hotter spots, maybe the better deals that some of our viewers could look to ask and whoever they're going to go with on their vacation? Hey, that may be a good destination to go to.
Well, Quebec, I'm recommending for sure. I just did my third visit there, and now I've been winter, I've been fall and summer. And what I like about it is, you feel like you're in Europe, you're in North America. It's not that far from a lot of us, and easy flight. And I would go to Quebec City for sure. I loved Montreal. If you want some nature, head to the Eastern Townships. So that's a great place to go. A lot of people are looking right now at places where our American currency is going to go further. Turkey is one of those that, again, I went for a third time this year. So I have a lot of travel experiences there. But I really love Istanbul and Cappadocia. And I was able to go to some other off the beaten path places on this last trip as well. So I would recommend that. I always love going to France. It may not be necessarily a deal, but if you go outside of Paris, there are a lot of smaller places that you can stay where you won't be spending a fortune. And if you go off season, I went to the Côte d'Azur in December, so Nice and Cannes, and it was cold, but it was not that bad. I was still biking around the city. I was able to go up and ski in the French Alps, so you could do skiing and be near the water. And I think that's a great place to look for interesting locales, again, outside of Paris. So those are a couple destinations I'd recommend. And yeah, I'm looking at my next year and planning out as well.
Yeah, it's never too early to plan, really. I mean, trying to find the best deals and just trying to get things organized. Because it could take some time to do that. So always looking at the calendar further ahead. I know, I know a lot of teachers, and they're always looking right at the very end of the year, just counting down the days to the end of the school year. For their big summer vacations. So, Darley, let's do this. Anna, who's one of my regular viewers, had two quick questions she wanted to ask you. So let me put this up on the screen. She says, I'm hoping to go to Boston in February. I love the city, but not looking forward to the New England cold. Any unique recommendations on what to do?
Wow. I was going to say for Boston, well, in the winter, I'd go to there's an Italian area that has great restaurants and food finds. So that's when I definitely go to in February. Because I was going to say, if you're going during the summer, I did an awesome bike tour there. I love to explore cities by biking, and you can grab in a lot of cities now city bike type things where you do those bike shares. But I say look for those local bike tours. In Boston, I would do a walking tour if you're starting out there. It sounds like, a tour with a group, but those are great ways to get a deep dive and know about the city from the start, know about a certain neighborhood, but then also get to talk to someone that's from there and knows a lot about the city to get other recommendations. So that's what I would say for Boston to start. There's so much history in Boston, and there's so many great sites that you can visit related to that. But it's a great city to walk around, again, after you get to certain neighborhoods, to get out and use your own 2 feet. But good dining options there in the Italian area.
Great. All right, Anna. So there's your recommendations for Boston. And then her second question is, and we kind of touched a little bit about Jersey, but it says, what are your favorite out of the ordinary New Jersey places, things to do?
So, I mean, I would start with Newark and the Ironbound. I actually need to explore more New Jersey. I'm hoping to do the Jersey Shore this year. And
very nice.
Yeah. I haven't really been out there, and some other places related to that. But I would definitely, I would hit up Newark and go eat in the Ironbound if you're going to start out. And then there's the beautiful cathedral there. There's a really interesting synagogue if you're interested in architecture and history, Ava Shalom Synagogue, and the Cathedral Basilica there that is just, you wouldn't, I thought, wow, this is in Newark, not because it's Newark, but just because it's so huge. You think, oh, New York City, London, and there you're in Newark, New Jersey. But I guess we're right outside of New York City, so it's maybe not that surprising. But the architecture was really amazing. So, and walking through the neighborhoods, Branch Brook Park out there is really neat too. It's an Olmsted Park, so one of the Central Park creators has a park out there, Olmsted related, that has cherry blossom trees in the spring. It's the largest collection in the USA. So a really neat place to explore and get some outdoor adventure experiences as well as good food.
Wonderful. All right, Anna. So Anna's one of my big watchers of the channel. Same thing with Alexandra, and they both love Travels with Darley and love all the work that you're doing. So Anna said you want to ask a couple of questions there. So we got about 5 minutes left, according to my clock here, and I want to show a couple of the video trailers for the new season as well, and then do a quick chat on the backside of that. But my question to you is that in all your episodes, you have these great hats. Am I the only one who says that? I don't know, but it just seems like you have an extensive collection of very unique hats. I mean, maybe a coffee table book or something. Maybe that could be in the works of some capacity at some other time.
Oh, yeah. I love hats, actually.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I think my dad was a big hat person, and it just is. I don't know. I love hats. I think they're fun, and when you travel, you can collect them, and they're so different in different places. I was actually going to Louisiana this year coming up, and they were telling me about this local hat maker, and I was like, okay, that's definitely on my list. If you see my Santa Fe episode, Patricia Marin made me a custom hat with a painted feather with a horse on it from her Canyon Road Art Gallery.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, how cool is that? I mean, here in New York City, I'm collecting hats. I have so many baseball caps. I mean, I'm that tourist who will get the Irish national stud hat or the I'm in LA hat because I think they're fun. So yeah, hats are great. And also the sun is not my friend, so I need a hat.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm in that camp as well. So I got to protect the fair skin at all times. So let's do this. Let's show let me show the trailer first for Wilmington, Delaware, and then we'll come back and chat for a quick second there about that. So this is season 10, Wilmington, Delaware.
Hi, I'm Darley Newman, and we're traveling back in time here at Fort Delaware as we explore American history.
American history comes alive in the state of Delaware through various destinations open to travelers.
Do everything right here at the seat of the DuPont family in America.
Walking around here, you can really feel like you've stepped back in time. I was excited to come here, being Swedish myself.
When the Swedes and the Finns arrived here, this became part of the original settlement.
It's an extraordinary house, and that's why it's a National Historic Landmark.
Ordinaries were designed to feed and house the masses.
Signature dish here, shepherd's pie. So I hear there are Pop-Tarts on the menu.
Mr. Biden does not engage in the occasional tipple, but we here in the first state absolutely do.
Wow, this is pretty extraordinary. On this episode of Travels with Darley.
That was fun. Wow. A lot of good food. The beer, absolutely. Definitely go for that. Looks like it was awesome stuff. And then that huge mansion. I mean, again, who knew that was there?
There are multiple DuPont mansions around the Wilmington, Delaware area that are open to the public. The Moore was one of my favorite. It reminded me of Biltmore or Hearst Castle. Really opulent, bowling alley inside, Rolls Royces in the garage, Versailles Lake Gardens. So really thought that Wilmington was a standout. And when you have a Pop-Tart, it was a burrata Pop-Tart on the menu of a James Spirit Award nominated restaurant down on Market Street, Bardea. How can you go wrong?
Can't go wrong there. Absolutely. Yeah, fantastic stuff. So that's in season 10. Let me show you this. Let's do this one. Show you were there. So I'm showing everybody at home the Bordeaux, France trailer. Let's do that, and then we'll chat on the other side.
Well, we're back in France, one of my favorite places to visit, and I'm really excited to be taking you all through Bordeaux, the largest wine-producing region here in France.
From the Medoc by bicycle to the city of Bordeaux by retro sidecar, I'm sharing how to get the most out of your travels to France's renowned wine region, including historic landmarks, cultural treasures,
and exploring the cool, pedestrian-friendly streets of Bordeaux.
We're exploring Bordeaux by taking a river cruise and stepping off to taste and sip our way through the city of Bordeaux, the Medoc, and Cognac.
Yes, it's a bit strong.
It is a little bit strong. Passing by historic villages.
We spend our time eating in this district.
Everything's better with butter, and everything is much better with caviar butter. Bike through vineyards and drink some exceptional wine.
Yeah, exactly.
How many bottles can I currently bring back to the U.S.?
So caviar butter. You have to tell us what that was like.
Wow, it was fantastic. I mean, France is known for having great butter and also great caviar. I had not thought of combining the two until I was in actually the city of Bordeaux at this place where you can buy caviar, do a caviar tasting, have caviar on cheesecake. So it was amazing. And again, pairing it with different champagne, they were like, would you like to have champagne or vodka to clean your palate between your caviar tasting? Like,
What a choice.
like, what should I choose?
Yeah.
I'm like, what time is it?
Exactly. What time is it? Right. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I was like, am I going to finish this day of filming? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You're gonna make it through it after all. Some of the from the vodka and some of the wine. Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, that looks like that's amazing fun there. So, friends, those are just two of the destinations for season at 10. Darley, tell everybody where they can find you. I know my viewers, we may have even some new viewers, about your Instagram page and where can they get more information on the show?
Yeah, the new season's airing on PBS stations across the nation now, including on New Jersey PBS. It's also, you can follow us online. I'm on Instagram at Darley Newman and all the other socials, as well as Travels with Darley on Facebook. You can stream our episodes on Journey, which is an app you can download. It's also free online, Wondrium, Amazon Prime, Apple, Roku, all those places. So lots of ways to connect. And I'm always open to travel tips. So hit me up on social, tell me where to go to, because I'm planning my next season, always looking for new places. And that's where I get a lot of my tips.
Great. Fantastic. Darley, well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure. Been looking forward to this for quite some time, and I'm glad our schedules worked out to get together and have a little bit of a chat. We'll have to do this again soon, and certainly when you come over to New Jersey, certainly let me know, and I'll give you my some of my tips and whatever, and kind of show you around a little bit, show you my home state.
That'd be great. I would love it. Yeah. Again, I'm going to definitely be doing New Jersey this year, so I can't wait.
Great. Wonderful. All right. So that's Darley Newman, Travels with Darley, executive producer and host of Travels with Darley, darley-newman.com for more information. Darley, once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on. I'll see you online.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, let's wrap things up here on the Tri-State Traffic Show. Again, I want to thank Darley for the wonderful interview. Again, darley-newman.com for more information. I want to thank all of you for watching, and we'll see you next time.